I met her on a brilliant blue October afternoon, one of those perfect fall days. I was leaving Walmart with my ex-girlfriend, Heather, who was also still my best friend and housemate. You could say things were complicated at home. But it was such a beautiful day that it didn't seem to matter. I didn't see the guy sitting on the tailgate of his pickup holding the free dog sign, but Heather did. She stopped the car, turned to me, and asked, "Do we want another dog?" I thought, of course we don't want another dog. I didn't want another dog when we got a second dog the year before. Except the first was definitely her dog, and the second had turned out to be an ideal companion for her son. And every dog I'd had in my adult life was somebody else's. I was surprised to hear myself say, "We can get another dog, but only if this one is my dog for keeps if we ever go separate ways." I guess I knew deep down that we couldn't live together as a platonic family forever. The guy said his mother-in-law was moving in and had allergies. I suspected there was more to the story, but I never did get any confirmation. After some brief conversation, I found myself with a fat, frightened, white and brown Chihuahua in my lap. Bubbles. Middle-aged, covered in flea dirt, and wildly overweight. She had possibly been named for the bubble-shaped spots on her back. Definitely not for her personality. I might have fooled myself into thinking I adopted her, but really, independent, stubborn Bubbles adopted me. From that first moment, I was her person. Bubbles became a loyal presence who valued my companionship over all others. Granted, she was ever reluctant to show it. She wouldn't even move off the foot of the bed at night until the lights were off and she could use cover of darkness to sneak in and snuggle up. Her passive-aggressive behaviors, most of which wove into an elaborate, ongoing game of "come here, get away," suggested she knew something about abandonment and fending for herself. So did I. Despite my long-ingrained habit of protective curmudgeonliness, or maybe because of it, we connected heart to heart. Shortly after she came to live with us, I began making changes in my life. The biggest change was in facing my addictive relationship to food. Eating was her favorite pastime, and she was happy to keep me company for meals, even healthy ones. We both learned to love a lot of vegetables. She was less excited about doing exercise. This I learned the hard way. While it's true I, a grown adult, can force an 8-pound dog on a brief walk, drag, around the block, the degree of her resistance will be such that the muscles in my arms will ache for 3 days following. Due to arthritic pain, Bubbles never risked jumping down off the furniture. Since she also had a fondness for hiding, just out of reach, behind sofas and under beds, I developed the habit of leaving her on the couch. It made her easy to find. The couch became Her Royal Highness's dais, from which she presided over all household circumstances. The inevitable breakup of our household came to pass the following summer. I was progressing in the direction of my recovery from addiction. They needed to go in another direction. It wasn't a graceful end. They chose to move out on very short notice, and in the shock and grief, my heart imploded. I already had limited emotional capacity. From that point, I shut myself down completely. I turned my heart to wood, to not feel the pain of failing relationships anymore. Bubs became my family. My world focused down to just her and me, 2 peas in a pod, looking out for each other. If somebody tried to come into her space and show her a little love, she was as likely to bite them with her one remaining front tooth as she was to let them scratch an ear. I bit with words, but the same principle applied. Her distinct personality made great fodder for entertaining Facebook updates. Even if you'd never met Bubbles, everything you needed to know about her shone through in my favorite picture of her, a Christmas photo of her seated on the sofa, a bow stuck to her head, her new fleece blanket draped around her non-existent shoulders, regal as Queen Victoria, right down to her expression. We are not amused. That the photo also served as my Facebook profile picture told you everything you needed to know about me, hiding from the world. The same deep down sense that told me to let her into my life knew when our time together was coming to an end. She'd never been especially healthy, but the day came when her appetite fell off. A lot. A few days later, she started throwing up white foam. The internet said it could be a reaction to something she ate. But if it wasn't, it was probably failure of essential organs. I'd already come to accept with deep sadness that a nonprofit salary does not allow for heroic and expensive medical decisions in a geriatric dog. So my heart was heavy, with equal parts dread and resignation, when I made the vet appointment to get her checked. Especially difficult was leaving her that morning to complete urgent appointments at my job so that we could go to the vet that afternoon. She wouldn't even look at her water or food, not even the highly favored cucumber slices. So I did what I always advised to the families I worked with in hospice. I got down, I looked her in the eye, and I told her it was okay. I would miss her, and I loved her. But if she needed to go, I would be all right. I was in the habit of telling her every day as I left the house, I love you, be a good girl, guard the couch with your life. I said it that last day too, and she did. I found her reclining on her favorite cushion, cold and stiff, but still reigning supreme over her realm. At the time I met Bubbles, I didn't know how to express my feelings well. Even 5 years later, I suffered from an emotional anorexia that had me fearful that I would never again have the capacity to cry spontaneously. In her death, she gave me one more opportunity for healing. I sat there, looking into her bright but lifeless eyes, and wept, and wept, and wept. I kept the vet appointment. I needed it. They took care of her body in death with as much compassion and care as they had in life. I put one last update on the Facebook for all who knew and loved her. She's gone. The dog who acted like a cat, ate like a pig, snored like a middle-aged man, snuffled like an alien baby, quacked like a duck, and reigned like a diva, is now only in our memories. That first night, I slept alone. When I finally mustered the courage to turn off the light, and she didn't crawl up and snuggle in, I wept all over again. Was she a rescue dog? We rescued each other. Every night when I wrote my gratitudes, I would start with, I am grateful for my dog who is saving my life. Today, it's bittersweet to start my gratitude list and then remember not to use that one. I miss her unique mix of sassy and obstinate, even as I recognize it within myself. It took a couple of months to take her photo off my Facebook profile. It's hard to give up the shadow of a missing half. But I did put up a new photo recently, one with my face turned up in the middle of a full body laugh. That photo tells you everything you need to know about me today, present in the world. I've learned how to be free and let it show. I may be one pea now. And sometimes the loneliness hurts in ways that defy words. But I am a pea that no longer needs a pod to hide in.